also live streaming this out onto YouTube live, shared it out a little bit on social. And for those of you who want to go back and watch the presentation, you can check out the eXp Realty YouTube page, and we'll kind of go over some things about eXp. First of all, and I'm just going to kind of jump through a couple slides here, who we are, business model, and so on and so forth. But I'll give you a little intro on myself. I'm the founder of eXp Realty, started it back in 2009, and right at the bottom of the housing market. And prior to that, I had actually ran a team-based brokerage. We were in 6 states. I had 3 physical offices. We had 3 teams that were co-located actually in other brokerages. And we had actually, back in 2002, actually, I'll go back a little bit further. 2002, I actually got my real estate license. I had got out of kind of technology and some startup stuff. I was looking for my next project. It just turned out that real estate was my next project. And in 2002, I got my license, built a very fast personal career in residential real estate. Rookie of the year, first year. My 4th year in the business, had a team doing over 60 million in production, top 50 nationally with Keller Williams. 2007, broke out to actually be as an independent a broker owner with running a team-based real estate structure. We did about 78 million in production that year. And 2008, we were on track to do about 100 million, and then the market came to a screeching halt. So very much like what we're experiencing right now was exactly the same thing that we were going through in 2008, and the velocity of the speed at which the housing market came to an abrupt stop feels very much like what we're going through right now, for totally different reasons. So back then it was because obviously the economy, anybody could get a loan. There's a lot of people defaulting on their loans, and as a result, it created a tailspin in the economy. This, of course, is different because most people who have been buying the last number of years since that period of time have put 20-25% down on their homes. I'm sure there's some that it's a little bit less, but more down payments, better look at credit scores and those types of things. But obviously with the COVID-19 and the coronavirus, it has, in the last 6 weeks, we went from one of the most thriving economies to potentially going into something akin to a cross between 9/11 and the housing crisis in 2008. So in 2008, when things changed, we went from selling back in April of 2008, we went from selling about $7 to $10 million a month in production. I remember in October, we closed $700,000 in closed production for the month of October. And that's huge reduction. That was a 90% reduction in our sales volume, versus a prior month when we were at our peak. And so this is happening in a fairly short order. But in 2008, we ended up raising a little bit of money, went into 2009, and in early 2009, in April, we came up with the basic concept of how do we build a real estate brokerage that can weather the financial downturn that will eventually show up in the market again. And we just sort of made that premise, and we said, okay, if we're going to do that, we need to build a real estate brokerage that's not dependent on bricks and mortar, and then we need to be able to leverage staffing costs in a way that actually made sense. And that was the basic premise. And so from April through about August of 2009, we worked on a business model, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, which is eXp Realty, which has been organically the fastest growing residential real estate brokerage in the history of residential real estate. And we didn't plan on that. We just wanted to build a really great model that was sustainable in good times and bad times. and we wanted to make it really great for agents. We wanted to put them in the driver's seat relative to their business, and we wanted to ultimately create something that ultimately would be able to weather storms that would happen at some point in the future, and now we're in it. So that was that's a little bit of just my history, but we launched eXp Realty in 2009. Here's a little just timeline on it. And by the way, for those of you who are new to this environment, you can actually go up to screen zoom on the top of your screen and actually zoom in on any of the screens or the center of the screen, etc. So, but we launched in 2009. We got featured early on by Stefan Swanepoel as potentially the Amazon of real estate. Inman had ranked us as one of the most innovative real estate brokerages twice, actually. Back in 2010 or 11, they did. We got ranked as a finalist, and then last year we got ranked as a Inman Innovator Award winner. But more importantly, one of the things, and we'll talk a little bit about it, we've been ranked for the last 3 years in a row as a best place to work in the small to mid-sized company category. And in this last year, we were ranked in the top 100 for best place to work for large companies. And we've been able to do that in a way that without the physical infrastructure that's normally associated with a company. And we've built a great culture. We've got great collaboration, and it's been pretty cool to be able to do that. Explosive growth, and we've grown literally from a very small number of agents. We started with about 24 agents back in October of 2009. We're now, actually, we need to update this slide. We're now in excess of 28,000 agents and brokers in all 50 states, 7 Canadian provinces. And we're also in the UK and Australia. And we've got some opportunities to potentially open some other countries. We'll see when that happens, given that we're circling the wagons a little bit just because of what's going on in the market. But we should have some other countries that we should be growing into as well. So explosive growth. One of the reasons why we've been able to really pull this off,
Len or whatever is talking,
let me close the mic.
Turn my microphone
on. So one of the reasons why we've been able to do this is we really started from day one with some really strong core values, and we articulated them more formally a few years ago. But we've always been about transparency, collaboration, sustainability, fun, agility. Right now we're practicing agility in a major way. Innovation, the way you sort of think about what a real estate brokerage is and how it operates, and then innovation, integrity, community. So all these core values are drivers to ultimately create a really cool place to work, and a really great way to sort of engage with things. By the way, for those of you who have some questions, and I know Randy's saying, hey, type them in here. You can also go to the Slido link that's actually on the outside, and you can actually use the Slido. Those will pop up on one of my screens here. I've got a little war room with 3 screens and my laptop, so got quite a setup here. Our business model, and we'll talk a little bit about this. You can sort of think about where Netflix and Blockbuster were a number of years ago, and obviously Blockbuster, I think there may be one remaining store that was publicized here a year ago that still exists for Blockbuster. I think that may be kept for legacy purposes. But back in the 2000s, early 2000s, everybody's on dial-up. 2002, I remember it. We were on dial-up connections. We didn't have high-speed internet at our homes. And Netflix was mailing DVDs, but they had a plan for ultimately, as internet speeds picked up, to be able to actually stream video through the internet to people's homes. We know what took place. They actually offered to merge with Blockbuster at one point in time for, I think, something like $50 million. Blockbuster kind of laughed at them. And then once high-speed internet got into everybody's homes, which was really later in, by 2008, 2009, approximately the same time that EXP launched, there was finally high-speed internet enough places that Netflix could start to really be a streaming platform. And that's just continued to grow and take off. And in fact, it's one of the few stocks that has performed modestly well in the last few weeks, because there's so many people now that are upping their Netflix subscription because they're sequestered or sheltering at home. I don't even know if there's Circuit City still around, but obviously Amazon has just announced that they're adding another 100,000 people to their workforce because so much demand for online shopping. Obviously, offline shopping for the time being is come to a virtual standstill, other than groceries, other than maybe some takeout food. Obviously, different parts of the country have different rules, but if you're in some of the states that are basically shelter at home, you're going to do all your shopping, if you are doing any shopping, pretty much on Amazon. I did, just as an aside, we burned out our blender because it wasn't getting a huge amount of use prior to what's going on. We've been using it here lately. We burned it out, found out Amazon back ordered on blenders. We actually went on to Bed Bath & Beyond, and supposedly we're going to have a new blender on Thursday. So just a little tip that there are other places that you can actually do some ordering. And then it's becoming pretty stark contrast between what it meant to be a traditional real estate brokerage and eXp Realty. And when we talk about traditional real estate brokerages, we all know who they are, but anybody who's got a physical footprint to a large part of the country, you're not even allowed to step foot in those real estate brokerages. New York came out with some rules yesterday, and that they just talked about is real estate is not considered essential service. Real estate agents aren't allowed to do open houses, show property, list, I think they could probably still list property, but there's a whole bunch of things you just can't do in terms of showing. And so we're all kind of in that boat together, whether it be EXP or Keller Williams or Corcoran or whoever it might be, but we're all still able to collaborate, work together. We've got we'll talk a little bit about classes and other things that we're able to do sort of in this virtual campus. So there's a lot of things that have definitely changed, but just like those who are in this campus, those of you who are watching on the YouTube live channel, there's a lot of ways to collaborate outside of a physical office. And what we're finding, and we've known this for a long time, is that in a lot of ways, your productivity will go up. Offices can be somewhat of a distraction to actually getting work done, but the flip side of it is that offices represented a place to socialize, to have conversations, to have water cooler, serendipitous collisions with other people who you might be able to put stuff together with. And right now with what's going on, we're able to continue to do some of that in our virtual environment. Again, I don't want to harp on it too much because we're kind of in a strange time, but it is a real meaningful differentiator that we've been leveraging for the last 10 plus years. And the last few weeks, it's become apparent how much of a enabler that is for what we're doing. Let's go to the next slide. Let's see here. Because we don't have a lot of that physical infrastructure, we're able to do a lot of things. You'll hear some of the folks, maybe Randy will talk about it a little bit later, but we've got over 50 hours of live training taking place every week. In fact, right now, one of the cool things we're doing is we're pulling together a huge number. We've got I think we've got 700 icon agents in EXP, something, a pretty large number. These are agents that have hit certain production benchmarks. They have, we're starting to rally around those folks to do upwards of one class per quarter. So if you think about 700 icons, each doing one class per quarter, that's a lot of classes from the best of the best in the industry, and we're rallying that group together to do a lot of that. Part of it's with regard to we had an event that we had scheduled in April, our shareholder event, and we're now going to actually do that virtually, which is pretty cool. We're going to have 3,000-4,000 people attend that, and even though we're going to go to Orlando and Disney World, we're going to do that in here. So lots of, our cloud campus environment is pretty cool. You can literally be connected from anywhere and be able to bring people in world, have conversations with folks, and be supported. Real-time support. We've got support for every part of your business that you can think of. And then now that we're international, it's cool to be able to collaborate with folks in the UK, Australia, obviously Canada, which is right next door to the US. But we're able to do a lot of international collaboration, which, we've got Stephen Lee leads up Australia, Adam Day leads up the UK, Deborah Stevens and a whole group of folks lead up Canada. We all are highly connected as an organization across multiple boundaries, not just city, not just state, but also internationally. So it's pretty awesome. And then the last piece is equity opportunities. We've got a revenue share plan, which we'll talk a little bit about, but we also have the ability for agents to earn equity in eXp World Holdings, which is the parent company of eXp Realty. We'll talk a little bit about our cloud campus environment. We talk about no desk fees. We do have a monthly technology fee, which basically covers all of our technology from SkySlope to KV Core to our virtual campus and it even includes all of the education that we provide for free. We don't charge corporately for any of the training that's provided inside of eXp World, which is pretty cool. So we don't have to sort of offer that as an additional cost, but you're able to work from anywhere. And if you had bricks and mortar expenses as a brokerage or as a boutique team, you can cut that expense out entirely if you choose to. Obviously, at this point, a lot of people can't even go to their offices. So if you're working in eXp World, we've got ways to sort of work together, and that means that broker owners, agents, and others can net more because they don't have some of that expense that would be normally associated with their business. Totally paperless, and then of course instant access to training. Some of it on demand, some of it being stuff that's pre-recorded. We've got an educational platform where you can get educated on a lot of things. We've got a cool marketing center. So again, we'll talk a little bit about some of that. So live training, there are tons and tons and tons of classes. And if you want to just see some of the classes, and I see Randy just put it in there, you can go to expcloud.com and you can actually check out a ton of the classes that are going on. And if you want to come into any of those, certainly request a guest pass. We're happy to have you check it out, experience it yourself, see what it's like to collaborate in our full campus. For those of you who are coming in as just to the eXp Explained, you've got limited access to just the auditorium, but once you get a guest pass, you can actually visit basically the entire eXp campus. So, and then as Randy mentioned, check out the Fast Start series. So let's go to real-time support. We talked a little bit about it, but we've got everything from technology, finance, agent services. We've got, we provide tons of training on KV Core. So those of you who are into internet lead gen or managing your database or what have you, we've partnered a number of years ago, did the first enterprise deal with Conversion, which ultimately became Inside Real Estate of any company nationwide. Now lots of companies are licensing KV Core because of the success of the agents inside of eXp, and so a lot of brokers do offer that now. but we've got tons and tons of support, and we're continuing to innovate in that regard all the time. So you can see some of the support hours. The other cool thing is that because of the way we use a platform called Workplace by Facebook, which I'll touch on a little bit, as well as the world, there's a lot of crowdsourcing of support. So even if our formal support isn't in place, because of the way we use a lot of technology, you're able to collaborate with other agents and brokers who, quite frankly, want to help our fellow EXP family be successful. And just the way we've got this set up, it's pretty cool. International collaboration, talked a little bit about that, but we're now again in multiple countries, and so it really is pretty cool that we're able to trade ideas across the pond or down under or anywhere that EXP grows to, and so there's lots of great ways to sort of collaborate and build in that regard. So here's kind of a little map of where we went so far, but as we come out of the current environment, hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll continue to expand around the globe. Our ability to expand internationally is it's really such a competitive advantage because we don't have to put in all of the physical infrastructure that goes into traditional brokerage, and it really appeals to a broad section of agents that exist in the marketplace. I just got back from Australia just over a week ago, and we actually moved up our flight a couple days to come back just because of what was going on out there. But we visited with agents all over Australia, and the big thing that we noted was that agents, entrepreneurial agents in other countries, literally are hampered by their existing brokerage to actually build their own personal brand, because the brokerages, at least in some countries, I'm noting that they're about, I estimate about 13 years behind where we are in the US relative to agents building their own personal brands. And with everything we've got going on in social media and all the other things, the ability for agents to actually build their brand in other countries is an even bigger opportunity for those entrepreneurial agents. And so it's exciting to be able to help and collaborate and trade ideas, but then they've also got great ideas too of stuff we haven't done here yet. The auction process in Australia and the way they approach it actually has a lot of merit, and it's something that I would think that entrepreneurial agents in the US and Canada would be wise to at least consider some of the things that they're doing in some of these other countries as being opportunities here in the US. So we're also a public company. So back in 2013, and this is a pretty important piece. And when we started EXP Realty in 2009, I refer to myself as a focus group of one. So I started at Prudential at a local office in Bellingham, Washington, and I was the number one. I was the rookie of the year, and I was the number one buyer's agent my first full year at the office, number 3 in the office. And so I'm a driven, high D personality. I'm big on sort of the production side, but I actually went into the office and said, "Hey guys, can I get a piece of the brokerage? I'd like to become an owner." And I was turned down, flat turned down. And so in 2004, I moved to Keller Williams, and quickly became the number one producing team in the office that I was in by a significant margin. I was I think in 2006, I was number 3 in the region, which was, I think, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska, if I'm not mistaken. But I was number 3, so I was doing a lot of volume, 60 million in production, and I wanted to get some ownership at the local office, and they didn't offer me any either, at least not a meaningful amount. I was offered actually 1%, but when I left, the office unfortunately had to be taken over by some local agents who would take over the bills because we represented such a high amount of the production in the office that they had to put an injection in the office to keep it going. They made it through the other side, which is great, but had they offered me a meaningful amount of equity, which at the time I was willing to pay for, we might not be sitting here today. But I always think about the idea of being an equity owner as being one of the biggest opportunities that I think people who think long term would want to be to have. The other piece that I noted back then, and it was a personal observation, was that the only thing I could get ownership of, even if I was offered ownership at the local level, meaningful ownership, is I could only get ownership of the local office, and that's where obviously the biggest amount of capital spend is done for a real estate franchise or brand, is that local office. But there was no way to get ownership at the parent company level. So Remax, of course, you can certainly buy Remax shares. They're publicly traded now. At the time, they weren't. Certainly, Gary Keller's not really sharing his equity with the masses, and so that was something that always bugged me, always eluded me, that the parent company, even in a downturn, should survive. And so I don't think that Remax as a brand's going away. I don't think Keller Williams as a brand's going away. I don't think that many of the brands that we currently know on a national level are going away, but a lot of the franchised offices are going to have a lot of financial challenges in the next 30, 60, 90, maybe 6 months to a year, and many of them are going to have to close their doors, and they won't have anything to show for it because they're not shareholders with the parent company. So share ownership was a big deal. In 2013, we actually bought and actually reverse merged ourselves into a public company for the single purpose of sharing equity with our agents and brokers. That was the whole thing. We didn't do an IPO. We didn't go grab a bunch of Wall Street money. We actually did it with the whole idea of sharing equity with the agents and brokers who are out there actively producing listing and sales out in the marketplace. And so we did that. And so we created a equity plan, an icon plan, and then we also in 2015, I believe, we introduced the ability for agents to actually contribute 5%. It's you can contribute or not contribute, but 5% and into our stock comp plan, and effectively receive stock at a 10% discount to market. So originally it was at 20%. We were on the OTC. It was restricted stock. Now we're fully NASDAQ listed, and so there's that discount, and that's calculated at the end of every month. So for those who are participating this month, obviously a little bit better price than it was a couple months ago, but still, the opportunity to build up additional equity is there and meaningful for that. And then of course, agents do have the ability, if they want to, they can be participants in the, because we're NASDAQ, they can buy as much stock technically as they want, or in theory as much as they want through their stockbroker, et cetera. So it's pretty cool. We're shoulder to shoulder with everyone. In EXP, there's no second class of stock. Everybody's part of the same shareholdership structure, and pretty excited. So we also have our Agent Advisory Council, or AAC, and what that basically is we've got a dozen of our agents and brokers who we will work with on just getting a voice of the agent as we make decisions, making sure that they're helping us with some of the bigger decisions, hopefully keeping them informed as quickly as possible. Obviously, right now there's a lot of things going on, and we're trying to keep those folks informed as much as possible. So as we're making some of the tougher decisions, that they're helping us with messaging and other things, and as well helping us make sure we're thinking through the issues as best as possible. Our revenue share plan. So this back in 2009, what we did is we literally said, okay, if we are able to give agents a better split, which we'll go through in a little bit, but our agents are an 80-20 split, no franchise fees, $16,000 cap. Can we share a percentage of the revenue with our agents and brokers on transactions that close? And the answer was yes. We looked at, quite frankly, the fastest growing real estate brokerages up until that point, or real estate brands. And having been at Keller Williams, and the reason why I was at Keller Williams was to a large extent because they had a profit share plan when I was there, and I saw that as a way to build a secondary stream of income, a potential retirement stream. The long and short of it is that a lot of the agents that I had were not at profitable offices, and so there wasn't a huge amount of profit shared. But I said at one time when we were getting ready to build EXP, I said, if we ever build a company, we're going to do revenue share, not profit share. And the basic logic of it was that a good or even a decent management team will figure out a way to break even based on the cost constraints of a company. And if we make revenue share a cost component of the company, then the management team should be able to run a company with a revenue share expense piece attached to it. So we built that out. We've run it since 2009. We've made a couple little tweaks here and there, nothing really significant. But since then, we've grown the company to obviously 28,000 agents, and it's made a meaningful difference in a lot of people's lives over the years. For those who take advantage of it. Now, most of our agents are just active listing and selling, but we do have some agents that their full-time livelihood is based on agent attraction and helping agents succeed in the listing and selling side of the business, and the revenue share side has provided a lot of meaningful upside to some of those folks, but also some of our existing agents. We've got folks like Brent Gove. Many of you have heard his name, but he runs his own real estate sales team, selling hundreds of homes a year. But he's also one of our top revenue share earners as well in the company. Sharing the EXP opportunity to agents and brokers all over the country. I've seen him in Canada. My guess is once we're able to get him over to the UK and Australia, he'll be there too. But pretty exciting stuff. So our plan, generally speaking, here's the plan. Now there's some tweaks that are being done right now, just based on some stuff we did. But generally, here is the way it's laid out. Agents receive 3.5% of the GCI. We call it adjusted gross commission income, but it's shifting to 3.5% of GCI on levels 1. So basically, you can earn up to, I think it's $2,800 on agents who you've brought to EXP every year that they're with EXP, and also if you're with EXP or in some sort of retirement state with EXP, you'll receive that. You receive up to $3,200 on agents that are on your second level, and up to $2,000 in third level, et cetera, based on certain production benchmarks. And as a result, as your organization grows, it can become meaningful. We've got a lot of agents earning a few thousand a month, and we've got some agents that historically have been earning pretty substantial income in the plan. It's kind of obnoxious, the numbers, so I won't mention them, but it can be quite sizable in just helping EXP grow. EXP World, you're actually in part of EXP World's campus right now. This is the EXP Explained Theater. It's actually part of our growth and operations group in EXP, and so this auditorium is available specifically for the EXP Explains that we do multiple times a week. And this is actually my first EXP Explained I've literally done in probably in World probably the last 2 or 3 years. So this is the first time I've done one for a while. Hopefully I'm not messing too much stuff up, but I'm sure people will coach me afterwards if there's some things I missed or misspoke about. But EXP World is an amazing place to be able to collaborate, work together, get support, and mastermind, etc. So we have, I don't know how many different spaces, but I think we've got over 100 different spaces in EXP, and so it's pretty cool. So just a quick question. I see, can revenue share be willed? It can be part of your estate to pass on because it comes out of commissions. You just have to have somebody, a relative of yours that is in fact licensed with EXP to continue to receive it, but it is willable from that perspective. Explore the community. So this is just a few more pictures. Information desk. We've got team collaboration, lots of training. We just had on Friday, I think it was our largest leadership meeting that I remember in our leadership meeting. We had 646 people in our auditorium in World on Friday. And we've had in our auditorium actually in excess of 700, and it'll actually support upwards of 1,000 plus attendees in our auditorium. And so this space that we're in will actually expand to support, over 1,000 people in World. So it's pretty cool, the ability to sort of use these different spaces as if you're in a physical space, and we can create, as many virtual spaces for people to break out in, have conversations, team meetings, state meetings, city-based meetings, any type of mastermind. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we're going to need a bigger boat. If you go to the slide deck that's at join.exprealty.com, you can actually go in and watch this video. I won't play it in here, but literally we've got soccer fields and other things that you can sort of see and do things on. And then, here's a big one. We just introduced this in November, and of course, right now, probably it's as top of mind as any other thing that's out there. We actually introduced EXP Agent Healthcare program. It's a healthcare cooperative, been around for I think 30 years. The underlying platform has been taking care of people in larger cooperatives. We introduced it, and to a large extent, it provides better coverage than traditional insurance at a lower cost, and independent contractors can take advantage of it. So it's been amazing to see a lot of the testimonials from agents and brokers. There's a few states, I think Washington State, maybe Vermont, I'm not sure. There's like 3 states where we can't actually offer this, but in most states in the US, you can actually get on the EXP Agent Healthcare Plan, and it's been a tremendously well received, much less expensive, but the coverage has been great to date. So something definitely to look at if you're, as an agent, needing to get some sort of health coverage. We've got some really great health coverage, and you can check it out at expagenthealthcare.com if you want more information. Some of the other solutions, EXP Enterprise. It's our own corporate intranet of just everything from marketing centers to your commission details to all the things that you would need to do to sort of just keep track of your just general underlying business. SkySlope, many of you have heard of SkySlope. It's one of the largest transaction management workflow platforms out there. It's sort of up there. Dotloop and SkySlope are kind of the 2 big ones, and so all of our agents do get their own SkySlope accounts, so they can submit all their transact materials electronically and get them reviewed, and it works quite well. Workplace by Facebook. This one is we started on Workplace in January of 2018. And it has been a complete game changer in the way that we communicate and collaborate with agents and brokers and staff. It's our own private Facebook for EXP, and every one of our agents, brokers, and staff are on there.
EXP?
About 2.5 years now. I'm a senior citizen with
and so many different conversations, so many different ways that you're supported. We even have safety check if there's a natural disaster, and we're checking on our agents, and we're keeping people highly engaged and highly involved in the business of EXP. And you can have this on your phone. You've got the workplace app, workplace chat app, and so you're connected to everybody in real time. And that's one of the reasons why our business has not missed a beat. Every time I go to a conference, Inman, the Swanepoel, T3 Summit last year, but anytime I speak and I talk to broker owners, I think that I tell them that the number one thing they should be doing right now is getting their company onto Workplace by Facebook. Most of them don't do it. Most of them haven't had to do it because they've had, the physical office environment and maybe the Tuesday morning sales meetings, and they've sort of just keep people sort of up to date, and there were small offices. But for large enterprises or people who want to really stay engaged and involved, it's probably the next to what we've been able to do with EXP World. It's probably our number 2 enablement technology that's allowed us to do what we need to do. So it's pretty darn cool. Definitely check it out. Even if you're not coming to EXP and you're just watching this video and you have an office, you have a team, check it out. It could be something that allows you to stay engaged and together, even while things are going on with the COVID-19 and everything else. CRM lead gen, we talked a little bit about KV Core. Great platform. We've been using it now for a number of years. I think, and I haven't got the stats for 2019 yet, but in 2018, our agents generated over 2 million leads into their database through KV Core. And that's, we finished the year in 2018 at like 15,000 agents. Now we're over 28,000 agents. But so I can only imagine what we did in 2019, but it certainly was probably well in excess of 3 million leads that our agents and brokers generated through KV Core into their database that they incubated. And obviously, based on their follow-up, they're going to close a certain percentage of. We do know that the best agents will generally close anywhere from 5 to 9% of the leads that come into their database. And then for those who aren't good at getting leads in their database, we also have a platform called Making It Rain, where we'll actually manage your spend, your lead gen, and actually get people into your database for you. And then it's up to you to then work on converting those. Now, you'll hear a lot of mixed bags, even inside of EXP, about the quote unquote quality of leads. But for those who actually work the leads and are truly interested in actually following up with the ones that are real, it's a great way to build your business. If you're just hoping that people are going to just stick their hand up and always give you good, accurate information and tell you exactly when they're going to buy a home, probably not worth spending the money. But if you're serious about working your database, spending 1 or 2 hours a day minimum every day, working with the folks in your database, and then scheduling whatever follow-up, it's a phenomenal way to add leads to your database. So KV Core is a great platform if you use it, and for those who really take internet lead gen seriously. Marketing and branding, we've got our own marketing center. I don't know how many thousands of materials are generated every week, but our agents literally have access to a full-on marketing center. And then we've got a number of preferred partners as well. Intralend is our own in-house mortgage company that actually works with your own preferred mortgage loan officer. We tap in your own loan officer into the platform. Silverline Title and Escrow, we've been building it out in multiple states already. And given what's going on right now, it's actually well positioned once we come out of what's going on as being a really solid title and escrow company. that can deal with remote closings, can deal with a lot of the remote stuff that we're dealing with right now, and it's set up from day one to be very cloud-based. Express offers, it's as other iBuyers are shutting down, Express Offers is up and running in 14 or so states. And the difference is Express Offers, we don't use any of our own money, similar, where you've got Zillow, Open Door, Fin, all using their own capital to buy homes. We're working with investors in those local marketplaces that actually understand the local market, that are actually still on the back end of the Express Offers platform, making offers on homes. Now, they're probably making offers on fewer homes. They're probably offering way less than was offered just a few weeks ago. But we still have the platform up, still has transactions going through. And so we think that, once we come through this, Express Offers can be a great platform for you to tap into. If you have buyers who buy a number of homes every year, I think up to date, they've had to buy about 50 homes a year to be on the back end to bid on homes. But if you've got buyers that you want to have on the back end, you can get them in there. Every time they buy a home, you get a little bit of a spiff for any property they buy. And then as an agent, any properties that you put in from an agent perspective, you'll get paid on those. And then more importantly is, again, probably more so once we come out of this, we've got a lead generation strategy that nobody else has, that we're going to be ramping up for agents so that you can generate a high amount of listing leads into your database without paying the exorbitant fees that some of the other companies that generate listing leads through a iBuyer platform are charging. So excited about that. America's preferred home warranty. How would you like to avoid ever having to pay anything relative to your E&O deductible? All you have to do is at least offer America's preferred home warranty to any of your would-be any of your sellers during the listing side of the business, and even if they don't attach a warranty, you as an agent, if there's something that goes wrong in that deal where E&O insurance kicks in, any deductibles are automatically paid by America's preferred home warranty from an agent's perspective. We've got a moving hub, build a sign, 360 tours. That's going to become a big deal. I think a lot of people, even for the next year or two, they're not going to want as many buyers walking through their homes, and buyers aren't going to want to walk through as many homes. So we've got our own 360 platform, and then some of the other things, CE Shop, et cetera. So these are all preferred partners, all part of the EXP ecosystem, and certainly take advantage of those. Joining EXP, becoming a shareholder, here's just a few little quotes, but the bottom line is we've got some of the best agents and brokers in the country have joined EXP over the last 10 years. We are super agent centric, and meaning that every day I put my hat on as an agent first, even though obviously I'm the founder of EXP, CEO of EXP World Holdings. But we make all of our decisions on how do we enhance the agent value proposition, and as a result, we've built something that I heard the phrase a safe haven in the current marketplace. And in terms of fees and expenses, 80-20 split, $16,000 cap, $85 a month. There's a few other little small pieces in there. There's $149 to start, and then there's a broker review fee. But we're fairly inexpensive. We're not the cheapest in town, but we're definitely not the most expensive. We're pretty much anybody who's got a split program that's out there, which is most real estate brokers is out there. We beat them on either the split, the cap, or both. There's very few companies that can compete with us, and we keep enough money in the system that actually pays leadership to help us grow the company. And so certainly you can find a cheaper place to hang your license, but you won't find the concentration of leaders and people interested in your success as you will at EXP. And that's just, that's an amazing part of the business, is you've got a ton of people, even people that haven't brought you into the business, that are seriously interested in seeing you be successful at EXP. It's like no other brokerage out there. And I'm super stoked to be in business with each and every one of them. Production matters. I don't know if our real trends numbers have come out so far this year, but we just released, our numbers last year. We, grew, 80% last year, over 90% our revenue side, but we've been growing like crazy. Obviously, growth will be impacted a little bit based on what's going on presently, but our value proposition is such that once everything finishes up and we get back to some sort of new normal, we're well positioned to be the place that many agents will call home for a variety of reasons, most of which I won't talk about, but intuitively to be the case given what's going on out there at the moment. So last piece of it is become a shareholder, which is really become an agent with us. You can start the process at join.exprealty.com. It's pretty straightforward. Another thing that I want to touch on, we also have right now, a lot of people that are starting to feel the pinch because of what's going on with coronavirus. We do have a platform called Extend a Hand, which is really to help agents, brokers, and staff through times of need. With EXP, we encourage you to, one, give to Extend a Hand if you feel that you have the ability to do that. But two, also if you need help and you're with EXP, if you need some help, apply for some help through Extend a Hand. We've got kind of a policy where we generally help everybody who requests, at least at some level, and so it's a great way for us to sort of to give back to those who self-identify, help with a little bit here and there for a number of the agents, brokers, and staff that might be hurting at this point. So I just want to throw that out there. If you're with EXP, if you need some help, definitely reach out to Extend a Hand. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. But why don't we, any questions? And we can use the text chat in here. Feel free to also jump on the Slido on the right screen there, or on your questions. Go ahead and ask, and then I'm going to also unmute the audience. So if anybody wants to turn on their mic and ask a question, happy to do that as well. There a deep explanation on how to earn by building a team. Tiered system and all the numbers are a bit confusing. So every team's going to be different. Obviously, if you sort of look at the way it all flows out, bottom line is we basically tier it out in that every time you bring on 5 more agents, up to 25 agents, and that are productive, that have sold a property sometime in the last 6 months, it'll open up another level of what we refer to as our exponential share. So so you earn automatically 3.5% on any agent you personally bring in, and you earn a small percentage down the next 6 levels, and that can add up over time depending on how big your group is. But each time you sort of expand your what we refer to as your front line of agents with productive agents who are actively selling, it will open up another level of income into the rev share system. And obviously I've been doing this for 10 plus years, so I've got a pretty good sized group to say the least, but we've got, a lot of agents who've been here just a short period of time, a year or less, that have built a pretty sizable passive income from that. And but it just depends on how seriously somebody wants to take that side of the business. First and foremost, a residential real estate sales company, which is why almost all of the equity benefits are for active producing selling agents, other than there is a little bit of equity when you bring somebody into EXP, and then when they sell their first property. Okay, it looks like Joshua Rulin, teams at EXP Realty. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm happy to continue to hang out here. Sean, if you want to shut her down on the live stream side. Thanks everyone for jumping in, and